Hello, ladies and germs. Welcome to the third episode of Whiners and Losers, the greatest fucking podcast on earth. Yeah, there I said it. And this is not a pod. I think I'm gonna title this episode "This is not a podcast." It's just a documentation of my life and what I want to talk about, how I feel at any period of time, at any moment of time or whatever, and what gives me joy to talk about, what I enjoy talking about. And I couldn't give two shits if anyone relates or cares or even listens. That being said, I'm super fucking grateful if you're listening to this. I, like I've already mentioned in the last two episodes, shall remain anonymous, and I come from parts unknown, and today is 27th August 2024 and we are live. And today we'll be talking about some of the greatest piece of cinema ever made, some of the greatest piece of visuals in a film ever recorded in history of cinema, like period. So yes, I'm talking about Dune 2, the sequel of Dune. And I watched both of the films together. Yesterday or day before yesterday I finished Dune 2, and a day before that I finished the first Dune. And let me tell you something, this is a masterpiece of a highest level. Like Denis Villeneuve, just take a bow. Take a bow, sir, because you are a fucking genius. You absolutely are a genius. You can make anything. You can make, the cinematic palette of this guy is otherworldly. Like, he is so good, he is so technical, this guy Denis Villeneuve. Like before watching Dune, my favorite Villeneuve film was Arrival, which I considered a masterpiece. It was a sci-fi film, and Dune is almost a sci-fi film. I think it is a sci-fi film. Yeah, so now I can say honestly, Dune 2 is my favorite Villeneuve movie because I really loved it, and maybe it could be a recency bias. And there's, I think, only one Denis Villeneuve film that I haven't watched yet, Incendies, which I have downloaded. I tried to watch it before, but I think I just gave up on it for some reason. And I think it's in French, and I have downloaded it. I'll be watching it soon. So there's a good chance you might be hearing some commotion from the background. Because that's where we live, in a shitty place. Not a shitty place, this is my house, I can't call it a shitty place, it's a great place. But there's gonna be commotion, and it's raining in the background, so you might hear some raining sound. It could be soothing for you. Could be soothing. So because like people always, on YouTube you'd find a bunch of videos, like a ton of videos, raining in the background, and while music playing in another room, raining in the background to help you sleep and stuff like that. So maybe this podcast is like a warm blanket. It will help you sleep. Maybe my voice is soothing enough for you to sleep, for you to have a good night's sleep. And that being said, let's start this podcast. So today we are going to be talking about, like I said, Dune first and second. We're also going to be talking about Denis Villeneuve and his what we like about him, what we appreciate about him, or what I noticed in his films. Then we're also going to be talking about David Lynch's Dune, which I haven't seen, if I'm being honest. I haven't seen. Even Jodorowsky tried making Dune. So there is a documentary that Alexander Jodorowsky's Dune by Nicholas Winding Refn, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not getting the name wrong. I think Refn made a documentary about is it Alexander or it is Alexandro Jodorowsky? So whatever his name is, the Chilean filmmaker. So his Dune, he wanted to make adapt Dune as a film, and then David Lynch obviously did adapt it, and then Villeneuve did, and the reviews are out. Like, everyone loves this film. Everyone loves Dune first and second, both of them. So, and then we're gonna be talking about The Bear season 3, which I finished. So if you have listened to the first episode of Whiners and Losers, you'll know that I was talking about The Bear first 2 seasons and how I was preparing myself to watch season 3, and finally I finished it, and it was good. I wouldn't call it at par with second season or maybe first season, but it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, there were no fishes or folks kind of episodes. Those were the missing point from the season, if I may say so. But other than that, it was pretty enjoyable season. Like, they focused a lot on Kami being a workaholic, which is something I really enjoy. Like, whenever the protagonist is obsessed with something, I really enjoy those kind of TV shows. I think a lot of people enjoy that. We wanna see people who we aspire to be, or we could look up to, even though they could be a little bit sociopathic, they could be a little bit unrealistic maybe, but yeah, something that we want to be, but we know that it's kind of hard to be that obsessed with something, because it takes a lot. It takes a toll being obsessed with stuff, especially when you're a creator. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about all these topics, and without further ado, let's get into this. Because let me think, if I have anything else to talk about. UFC, I could talk about that. UFC Apex card was there, which is the warehouse, the Apex, and it was Cairo Borralho versus Jared Cannonier. It was a great fun fight, and I think I don't want to talk about it, to be honest. I'd rather talk about films right now. And yeah, with that in mind, let's talk about Dune. So Dune first was obviously great. It was great without a doubt. It was more like a setup for the second one. And now they're saying they're gonna make a third one, Dune Messiah or something. Yeah. So Villeneuve says he's already working on the script, which would be great. Which would really be great, because I don't think Villeneuve is making any film, like, not that I'm aware of something that he's making right now. He's like working on currently. Granted, I don't read as much, I don't consume as much cinema news as I used to, but I don't think he's making something right now. So his last 3 films have been sci-fi sort of films. So he made Dune first, Dune second. He made, just before that, he made Blade Runner 2049, which was a masterpiece as well. Man, this guy has always delivered. I mean, tell me one shitty film this guy's made, or one okay film this guy's made. Let me just quickly bring his filmography. Like, just quickly go through his filmography, because I don't think he's ever made a film which is not a banger. And Denis Villeneuve. Oh, come on. Villeneuve. Okay. So Denis Villeneuve is a Canadian filmmaker. He's a French-Canadian filmmaker. Canadian-French, whatever you want to call it. Who is he married to? Tania Lapointe. Who is she? She's also a filmmaker. He's married to a documentarian, which is kind of neat. So I heard an interview once of Denis Villeneuve. He was sitting on the Hollywood Reporter roundtable, where he mentioned that one of his mentor was a documentarian, and he wanted Villeneuve to make documentary. He just wanted Villeneuve to make documentary, but for some reason, Villeneuve, for his personal reasons, Villeneuve wanted to make narrative movies, like feature films. So, and his mentor was really disappointed with that. He was like, yeah, you failed him or some shit. So, okay. So let's start with this. I have seen Polytechnique. Okay, let's start with his first film, his debut movie, August 32nd on Earth. I haven't watched it. It was his feature directorial debut. It was nominated for. It was Canadian entry for Best Foreign Language Film at Academy. So I think it was a good film. Has to be a good film if it was nominated. But since I haven't watched it, I'm not going to comment on it. He also wrote that film. Then his second film was Maelstrom, also a Canadian absurdist psychological drama film, written and directed by Villeneuve. And this film was announced as Canada's submission for the Academy Award again. See, it's either Canada does not have many great filmmakers or these movies are really good. So I haven't seen those. Now the third one, Polytechnique. This is a film I have seen and I really liked it. It was based on the Montreal Massacre. So it's like that Gus Van Sant movie, Elephant. Not exactly, but sort of like that film. And I really enjoyed this one. So I wouldn't consider it as a masterpiece or something, but yeah, really a great film, great movie. Incendies, people call it his best movie. Haven't seen it, can't comment on it right now. And he's written it as well, yeah, with one other person, and it's based on a novel. It's based on a play by Wajdi Mouawad. Okay, who is Wajdi Mouawad? Is a Lebanese Canadian writer. Okay. So Incendies is based on a play, and it is widely considered to be his best work, Villeneuve's best work, which I'm not sure. Okay, so his next film, Prisoners, masterpiece, my favorite film after Arrival and Dune Part 2. His next film, Enemy, great, like borderline masterpiece, like almost there. Next one, Sicario, masterpiece, a masterpiece. Arrival, masterpiece. Blade Runner 2049, masterpiece. Dune Part 1, a great fucking film. Dune Part 2, masterpiece. Then in 2026 it says to be announced, so he's really gonna make a film in 2026, and he's made some short films as well. Okay, nothing we have seen, so we're not gonna comment on that. So he has a pretty solid filmography, like really solid filmography. And if you see the list of his frequent collaborators, man, used to work with Johansson, and then he switched to Hans Zimmer. I think Johansson died, so he's worked with Johansson on Prisoners, Sicario, and Arrival. Yeah, Johansson died in 2018. Johansson is a Icelandic composer, brilliant, phenomenal composer. Like his music in Arrival was just like a God's word to your ears or something, man. Just like God's music. Everything is made like Blade Runner 2049. He has made some unused music. Okay, that's fine. So Sicario, he's made the score for. He's done the score for. There was one. Okay, Prisoners. I remember I made a long ass post on my Instagram that I don't understand why Villeneuve picked Zimmer over Johansson. It didn't make sense to me because I was really a big fan of Johansson, but I had no idea what was the thinking behind it. But yeah, must have been something, because Zimmer is not a joke. Zimmer is one of the greatest film composer of all times. I was just like rambling. I didn't know what I was talking about, to be honest. So there was that. So yeah, Villeneuve, solid filmography. What I can see from his film is the fact that let's before that, let's go through his film's reception and box office collection. So Maelstrom was made on a budget of $3.4 million and only made $0.3 million. That's what happens with feature films made by new directors. It could be a great film, but it's still not gonna make any money. This film got was a Canada submission for Best Foreign Language Film at academies, but still didn't make any money. His next film, Polytechnique, was made on a $6 million budget, and it made only $1.6 million. Like, huge loss, man. And then Incendies made a good chunk of money because it was made on a $6.8 million budget and made 16.1. Prisoners made a ton of money, like more than 100 million, 122 million made on a budget of 46 million. Sicario made good money. Arrival made great money. Arrival was made only on a budget of $47 million. It made 203 million. Blade Runner made okay money. I thought Blade Runner was a box office failure or something. Like, at least that's what the articles were being written about back when it was released. But it made decent money. It covered its cost. And then Dune Part 1 made good money, but Dune Part 2 just blew it through the roof. Made $711 million. Yeah, great. So what I was talking about was his skills. What I want to really talk about, Villeneuve's understanding of tempo. Like, he understands tempo like nobody else does. That's how he builds everything. That's how he builds suspense. That's how he hooks the audience. I mean, his it's like a piece of music which is so profoundly addictive that you can't help but just like look at it and hear it. In case of film, you just have to look at it because his tempo are just like, he is not like a slow filmmaker, and he's not like excuse me, he's not like those cut filmmakers, not like one of those action filmmakers or anything. You might call them that. I don't have a better term for it. Not someone who's rushing things. He doesn't rush it. He doesn't make it. He doesn't drag it. He doesn't slow it down just for the sake of it. He has a perfect tempo. There's a scene in first Dune where Timothy Chalamet's character, listen, Al Gaib, what's his name? Paul Atreides or something, right? Paul Atreides, I think he's called. Paul Atreides, and his mother, Lady Jessica, played by great actress Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, I haven't seen any of the Rebecca Ferguson film, to be honest, but she nailed this role. She was brilliant in it. So was Oscar. Oscar Isaac is always brilliant as Duke Leto Atreides. And so there was one scene where Paul and his mother were running from those Harkonnens, and they were just getting on a helicopter or just like a flying equipment which looked like a fly. They made it like a fly, like a bee or a fly or something, and it was really brilliant. And in that scene, what he does is, as they are running towards the helicopter and they just get into it and they're trying to start it, and it's taking them some time to start it because maybe the engine is like engine is rusty or something or whatever. Like he's trying to start it, Paul is, and at the same time what he does is he cuts. While he's doing that, he cuts back and forth from him trying to start the helicopter to just the shot of a empty door where the enemies are supposed to be coming from, and it just builds a kind of suspense that what if they're gonna arrive, what if they're gonna come. They never come eventually, but he just builds it in a way which is just fascinating. I'm sure that I didn't do justice to the scene. I didn't describe it properly, but if you watch the film, I mean, your eyes are just glued to the screen. You're like, okay, what if they come? And even though it's like they have a good distance covered, but still it feels like they're gonna come the way it's shot. So yeah, I mean, Denis Villeneuve, brilliant filmmaker. In last episode, I think we talked about what's his name, the Japanese, not the Japanese filmmaker, the Columbus guy. What's his name? I forgot. I always forget. Kogonada or something. Kogonada, yeah, right? Columbus movie. Let me just Google it quickly. His name is Kogonada, yeah, I was right. So in last episode we talked about Kogonada, and I haven't seen After Yang. I still haven't seen After Yang. I'm gonna watch it soon, and I might watch Columbus again. I just saw a photo of Parker Posey, and Parker Posey, And she's just so fucking hot, man. She is extremely hot. Yeah, might jerk off to her. Okay, yeah, on that note, let's sign off. On that note, let's just call this a day, and it has been fun. I hope you liked listening to it. If you're listening to it, if anyone's listening to it, and if anyone's going through till the end, I mean, I know my English is not that good because it's my second language. Not even second. Yeah, you can call it a second language. It's not my first language, definitely. And yeah, so that's about it. Cheers.